I read the House rules.
Okay.
And as frustrating as it may be to have these hearings going on behind closed doors, the hearings over which Congressman Schiff is presiding, they are consistent with the rules.
They can make any rules they want.
Well, they can't change the rules. They follow the rules. And when were the rules written? Last in January of 2015. And who signed them? John Boehner. And who enacted them? A Republican majority. So
what do the rules say?
The rules say that this level of inquiry, this initial level of inquiry, can be done in secret. I want to watch it. I am dying to see if John Ratcliffe's cross-examination of Ambassador Taylor was as aggressive and successful as Republicans claim it is. John Ratcliffe is a former serious trial lawyer who knows how to cross-examine. We didn't get to see it. So what happened in the Nixon impeachment? My former boss, I was his page in the House of Representatives, Peter Rodino, instead of holding the hearings in secret, interviewed the witnesses in secret, not by the committee, but by the staff. Congressman Henry Hyde, same thing in the Clinton impeachment. Witnesses were interviewed in secret and then presented in public. Congressman Schiff, with a different set of rules, chooses to do the initial set of interviews in secret. Secret evidence doesn't work in this world. So eventually there will be a public presentation of this at which lawyers for the president can cross-examine these people and challenge them. This is like presenting a case to a grand jury, which is never done in public. So I get it. The Republicans are frustrated, and they wanted to make a point, and they made their point.
They might have made it.
But this is just not the most effective way to show respect for what your colleagues are doing.
On the other hand, the Republicans might have made their point, though, because the Washington Post is saying this morning that House Democrats may open this all up, as you suggest, by mid-November, because they feel like they're losing, the Democrats are, the messaging war, because it's all behind
Yes,
closed doors.
I think a lot of people are frustrated on both sides. But this, I know this is going to sound weird. These are not the impeachment hearings. The impeachment hearings have to be held in public by the House Judiciary Committee. This is the initial interview of witnesses to see what they have to say to determine whether or not they are even worthy of presenting evidence of impeachment.
And they will continue to go on and on and on until they find something on the president,
Yes,
right?
That's what police and prosecutors do. They come to a conclusion that the person is probably guilty, and then they look for evidence to support or to negate that. That's what Congressman Schiff is doing, and he's following the rules, as frustrating as those rules are.
This is Fox News' senior judicial analyst Andrew Napolitano blowing a hole in Republicans' latest defense of Trump, in which they claim that Adam Schiff is working to unilaterally impeach the president by holding secret hearings in the basement of the Capitol. And Republicans, desperate for some defense, any defense, to stick, tried to drive home this baseless claim by, quote, storming the secure hearing room in the Capitol, where Laura Cooper, a Pentagon official with jurisdiction over Ukraine policy, was giving her deposition to the House Intelligence Committee. Only the problem with this move and their entire defense is that this isn't so much a secret process as it is a bipartisan one. These witness interviews are comprised of over 200 members of both parties who sit on 3 committees leading the impeachment inquiry. It's not just Adam Schiff and Hillary Clinton down there, although Fox News would love nothing more in this world. In actuality, Republicans are allowed into these hearings if they're on the appropriate committees that are actually conducting the investigations. Kind of like how I'm allowed in a concert if I have a ticket, and I'm not allowed in that concert if I don't have a ticket. Clearly, a very complicated concept. But worse than that is, like Napolitano explained, Democrats and Adam Schiff, whom the GOP is desperately trying to turn into the boogeyman of this whole process, are just following Republican rules. They were enacted in 2015 during the Tea Party era in Congress, when the GOP gave unilateral subpoena power to all 14 committee chairs and permission to take closed-door depositions. And yet, I can't remember a single complaint by the GOP just a few years ago. No storming of basements or barging into secure facilities or press conferences condemning secret hearings. It's almost like, and I hope you're sitting down for this, their complaints are just a BS stunt to curry favor with Trump. And it actually gets worse for Republicans, because like the rules that Democrats are following, the GOP has a history of explicitly defending private interviews. If you take a look at the final report for the Republican-led Benghazi Select Committee, set up admittedly to hurt Hillary Clinton ahead of the 2016 election, on page 360 of the report is written, the committee's preference for private interviews over public hearings has been questioned. Interviews are a more efficient and effective means of discovery. Interviews allow witnesses to be questioned in depth by a highly prepared member or staff person. In In a hearing, every member of a committee is recognized, usually for 5 minutes, a procedure which precludes in-depth focused questioning. Interviews also allow the committee to safeguard the privacy of witnesses who may fear retaliation for cooperating or whose work requires anonymity, such as intelligence community operatives. And if that's not enough, we might want to look to the chairman of the House Oversight Committee just last year, Republican Trey Gowdy.
Our private hearing was much more constructive than the public hearing. I mean, public hearings are a circus, Margaret. I mean, that's why I don't like to do them. I don't do many of them. I mean, it's a freak show. I mean, the private interviews are much more constructive.
In other words, when it comes to the benefits of private interviews, the Republican Party might want to consult with the Republican Party. But the point of all of these stunts and whining by the GOP isn't based in any legitimate complaints, it's just partisan showmanship. It's a performance for Trump. It is the latest in a long, long line of defenses that don't quite seem to be working. From saying that the whistleblower is a partisan, to saying the whistleblower used secondhand information, to saying that Deep State has it out for Trump, to saying Schiff personally counseled the whistleblower, to today, where the Democrats are supposedly holding secret impeachment hearings by following Republican rules. And rest assured, as soon as they finally accept that this defense is going nowhere, they'll jump right over to the next one and it'll be just as pathetic as the last. What they don't seem to be accepting is that these stunts are only making Trump look guiltier and guiltier every single time.